I really recommend to you all this year that you take a good glimmer and spend some time in reflection as you spend time with the Lord, just reflecting on the social justice statement of this year. Every time I come to this beautiful yard of the presbytery where I live here in Rozelle in Sydney, I see the beautiful trees all around me, very old trees. Some of them would go back 150 years even that far back. The house is roughly about 150 years old, overlooking Sydney Harbour. And I just see the beautiful lily-pilly tree over there, and I see the beautiful magnolia tree up there and the jacaranda. Absolutely uplifts me. But one of the things I'm always reminded when I come into this beautiful garden is when I see the statue of St. Francis over there. I've always had a love for St. Francis, but he also reminds me, when I see the statue of St. Francis, reminds me of our present Pope, Pope Francis, who I see as the modern day St. Francis. A good Jesuit, but he certainly took the right name and he became our Holy Father, Francis of Assisi. Because Francis, throughout his pontificate, his time as our Holy Father, has shown a great love for the poor, people right across the board, and a great love for the whole environment as well. And only 7 or 8 years ago, Pope Francis published that letter to all of us, Laudate Si, all about the poor, all about protection of the environment, protecting people, but particularly looking after the environment. And I'm very aware, just in the last week or two in our world, we've got these major bushfires in the United States and parts of Canada as well. We've had the massive rainfalls, the earth moving, etc. in Germany, Belgium, northern Italy, and other parts of Europe as well. And we know ourselves here in this country, for the last 2 summers, we've had major bushfires as well. It makes us very aware of the fragility of our environment. So the environment is extremely important. And that was why, of course, when Pope Francis 7 years ago wrote the encyclical Laudate Si, was to make us aware of that. But this year, the Australian Bishop's Social Justice Statement, the cry of the earth, the cry of the poor, is highlighting what Pope Francis had to say to us in his encyclical Laudate Si, which will be propagated on Social Justice Sunday this year, the last Sunday in August. Again, it's reminding us that we have a great responsibility to care for this beautiful earth. God's creation is beautiful, but also too a great responsibility to look after every human person on the face of this earth as well. And that's been throughout his pontificate, Pope Francis's great emphasis. But in his encyclical, Laudate Si, he highlights particularly the whole scriptural base, the whole theological base, the whole prayerful base, but also too the great importance of Indigenous people in our world. We have our own Indigenous people here in this country who go back at least in this land 60,000 years or more. And throughout the world, in so many places, in the United States, Canada, different parts of Europe, the Indigenous peoples throughout the Pacific, throughout Asia, Indigenous peoples who make a huge contribution, who have the grasp and understanding of it all. And in the Social Justice Statement this year, Cry of the Earth, Cry for the Poor, this is very much highlighted as well. So it's highlighting our care for one another, our care for human beings, our respect for all human beings, every human being, our care for the whole earth in all its dimensions, the trees, the animals, the whole environment must be carefully looked after. And also too, we must always respect our Indigenous brothers and sisters, no matter where they are. But since we're in this great South land, the Holy Spirit, must be very conscious of our Indigenous peoples as well. And I know as I'm standing here in this place, I know I stand on the land of the Gadigal people, the Aurora Nation. Very special. And I'd like to acknowledge those people, but every Indigenous person and every Torres Strait Islander who is part of this land as well. But of course, for us as disciples of Jesus, we have a great responsibility to heed that whole emphasis of our social justice statement, to care for our earth, to hear the cry of our earth. And when you stand in a beautiful environment where everywhere we are, there's beauty all around us, you can feel it. We've got to give ourselves time to appreciate it. And the other thing at the same time is having that at the same time, hand in hand, that great love for every sister and brother on the face of this earth, but particularly those who often put in very difficult situations. I look at present, at this time of pandemic, so many families really struggling. People have lost work, they've lost jobs, our lives in a bit of disarray. I think about families who are in war zones throughout our world. So many places where there's so many troubles. I don't need to name them all, but for one, it's Afghanistan, Myanmar, just to name a couple, even not far from us, and other parts of Asia as well, and throughout the Middle East. And then, of course, we have so many as well who are refugees, asylum seekers who come out of these war zones looking for a place. I don't think there's ever been so many people who are on the move in our world. And of course, we're very conscious that we got people in this land who are still in detention, still locked up, particularly up there in PNG, in Nauru and Manus Island. That some of them have been there 8, 9, 10 years and even longer. How do we look at we've got to look after these people. We've got a great responsibility to look after these people. So I really recommend to you all this year that you take a good glimmer and spend some time in reflection as you spend time with the Lord, just reflecting on the social justice statement of this year, a cry for the earth and a cry for the poor. And may God bless us all and bless every sister and brother in this world, and bless our whole of our creation, which we are so privileged to be sharers in. Thank you.